Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for checking it out. It's the Rich Eisen Show basketball podcast. Brockman here with Adam and TJ.
Yo.
What up, what up?
What
How
up?
you guys feeling?
Feeling great, man. It's right before Christmas. So, you know.
Yeah, it's Thursday. It's Festivus. It's raining in Los Angeles. Before we get to the basketball, we're going to talk a little bit of Lakers here. We are from not this time zone, so we know how to drive in certain weather conditions.
Yes.
Now, we know how to drive, but do you drive a little more defensive because you know everyone else out there doesn't know how to drive?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't trust anybody that drives here, so I'm always eyes peeled on the road at all times, going a little slower, not because I don't trust myself, but like you said, I don't trust these transplants and the locals here that don't know what they're doing.
Yeah,
But you're a transplant.
Yeah, but I still don't trust the transplants because they could be from other cities.
I don't trust the
south.
locals. Or yeah, you're right. I guess it could be from other cities where there, kind of isn't the weather. But like, Adam, you grew up in Chicago, TJ, Pennsylvania, but you've been out here for a long time, and I kind of bounced around. But a lot of Northeast driving for me. It's just like, you're right. I just don't trust everybody else. And even if it's not even raining heavy, everyone's freaking out. Usually traffic, you got to give yourself extra time. Thankfully, this week in LA, everyone's kind of getting out of town, so the roads have been kind of clear.
I think if you grew up in LA, you should have a license where you're not allowed to drive in the snow. Like you can't go to Illinois and drive. It's like California restricted.
Wait, so you like when they go to rent a car or something?
Exactly.
They want like a sticker or a stamp out on their license that says like, "Oh, sorry, you can't rent a car here."
Exactly. You're gonna have to take the bus or Uber. You can't drive here in Illinois.
That's hilarious. I have a bunch of weird things. I think people should have to pass a special test to be able to drive in the left lane.
Ooh.
Because like people, like I said on the show earlier, like people get in the left lane and then they go the speed limit. The left lane is not for the speed limit. It's not for 65. It's for 75 and up.
Should they get a ticket if they're driving too slow?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're the guy at the front of the left lane and you can see that there's like 10 cars behind you, get over. like let the real drivers take control and set the pace.
Absolutely.
All right. Speaking of pace, I have no transition there. The Lakers are really struggling, guys. They've lost 3 in a row. The tweet the other day that really set me off, the NBA account, and look, I get they need to promote, the main franchises and the superstars, but they had like fire emojis with a LeBron layup video, like the Kings got 34 points with 6 minutes to go. Yeah, they're down 20 at the time.
Yeah.
Like, what is the point of this tweet? And the Lakers lost the game to Phoenix. They fall to 16-16. We know the hype surrounding LA coming into the year, the offseason acquisitions are the favorites to win the title. And now they're 500. And the betting note that I saw out there that I sent to you guys, no team 500 or worse after 20 games has went on to win the NBA championship. And they're 16-16. We've played 32 games. We're closing in on the halfway point. When you guys watch this team, when you see clips about this team, when you read about this team, Adam, what stands out as the main problem?
They're washed. That's the bottom line. This team is washed. I will say they've had a lot of injuries. Every player's missed significant time, except really Carmelo and Westbrook. The big signing of Westbrook was a huge disappointment. He does not fit with that team.
Yeah.
If anything, he should become the sixth man and lead the second unit. But with the starting lineup, it just doesn't work. THT has been a huge disappointment. And to be honest, I'm loving it because I do not like the Lakers. I don't like their fans.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasant surprise. And the funny thing is I liked the Lakers when I first moved here, and then I realized how obnoxious the fan base truly is. So this has been kind of fun to watch them melt down.
Yeah, it's just kind of crazy. TJ is like, we kind of said it on the main show right before the season started. We kind of thought this was going to be a disaster. And it's, in a weird way, it's living up to our expectations, really.
Yeah, we didn't have big hopes
We didn't think they were going to win the championship.
that this was going to work. And now you've got Anthony Davis out for another 4 weeks, possibly.
That was a scary situation.
Here's the deal, man. They're 16-16 right now. 32 games in. The bottom line is, as long as LeBron James is still alive and healthy, you can never count any team that he's on out, right? So, I mean, yeah, it's fun now. Let's kick them when they're down.
Oh, it's really fun.
And I'm
kicking them when
loving
they're
that.
down.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, when at the end of the season, when playoff time comes around and LeBron can walk out on the court, there's still going to be, someone that you got to contend with a little bit. So, as much as it is now to see them struggle, I'm just kind of like, let's just see how this happens, because I got a feeling with all these vets, near the end of the season, if they get healthy, I'm not saying they're championship material, but I think they'll probably end up making a little bit of a run.
Yeah, and that's the thing. After the game the other night, LeBron said, look, it's too early to judge us.
Yeah.
And it's like,
It's a whole new it's a whole new squad.
I know, but it's been 32 games. Don't you think at this point in time, I mean, just remember the 2010 Heat, right? They were 9-8, and we were all like, it's over. This was a disaster. Super team failed. How's Bosch isn't fitting? LeBron and Dwayne Wade aren't working. Who is Spoelstra? He can't coach.
And I said the same thing back then.
And then
17 games in, guys.
They went to the title. They went to 4 straight.
Yeah.
They won 2 in a row afterwards. But so do you believe LeBron? You believe it's too early to kind of judge these guys?
I mean, it's not too early to judge them, because, the argument to that is you can judge somebody after 2 games. So fine.
Sure.
You can judge them. But do I see them playing this poorly the rest of the season and not making the playoffs? I definitely think they're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, look, for all their woes through this point in the year,
look where they're at.
They're the 6th seed. They're not even in the play-in. They're they're waiting to see who comes out of the play-in. But
like Biggie said, that's not all MCs have the gall to pray for my downfall. That's kind of think where we are with the Lakers.
Oh,
We're
baby.
praying for their downfall, and it feels good because it looks like
it does feel good.
They're tumbling down the hill.
Yeah, right.
But I've been around long enough, and I've seen enough to know, let's pump the brakes a little before we read them their last rites.
And there is a little bit of a logjam there in the West once you get past the top 4 teams. Memphis has really come on of late as kind of a surprise team. They're 19-13 in the 4th spot, but you got the Clippers, 2 games over 500. Mm-hmm. The Lakers are 500. The Mavericks are 500 with Luka out right now. The Nuggets, they're still waiting for Jamal Murray to come back. Do we know, is he coming back this year? I think at some point,
it's still open. I'm not sure.
Yeah, they're at 500. The Timberwolves have been out with, Ant's been out for the last few games with COVID. They're 1 game under, and then, Portland's kind of holding down the 10th spot there. But there are a lot of teams. They're in a weird way. The West is kind of like the AFC in football, where there's just
still wide open.
Couple of top teams, and then kind of everybody else just jostling for playoff position. So
Phoenix and Golden State, and even the Jazz still killing it.
Yeah, still those teams are killing it. And like I said, Memphis has kind of come on without Ja, so maybe when he gets back, they can be in that top mix, not really in the play-in. But Adam, are we too early to bury the Lakers, or can we continue on this and have our fun kind of kicking them when they're down?
So I think the key is Anthony Davis's health. If he is healthy going into the playoffs, then the Lakers have 2 top 10 players on their team. So I don't think we can count them out yet. But the problem with the Lakers is their 3-point shooting has been bad recently. And if they can't hit those open shots in the playoffs, they have no chance of beating those teams of the Jazz, the Suns, the Warriors, like we talked about. Yeah. Because LeBron and AD will get these guys open looks. So I think the key players you have to look at for this Lakers team to be successful are THT, Wayne Ellington, Malik Monk. These dudes need to step up and really hit those open jumpers. And then if they're doing that in the playoffs, then we can't count the Lakers out, I don't think.
Yeah, it has been fun to see IT come back and play for this team.
I just didn't understand why that guy was not in the league.
I know, right?
Really strange. The whole circumstances behind Isaiah Thomas's career have just been very. Oh,
he kind of got Boogie Cousins in a weird way. He just got unlucky with the timing of an injury.
Yeah,
cost himself
Millions.
Nine figures, really, right?
But the guy should. I mean, he should have been in the league, and I just don't understand.
I know it's
what the
weird
deal
that it
was.
took 2 years to get a G League invite, really, and then he goes out and drops 40. What did he drop in the Drew League game? Wasn't it like 60 or something or 50?
He did
plus?
something.
It was
insane.
crazy like that.
Yeah. Again, the league's more fun with.
Do you
that.
think he lasts on the team, or is he gone after?
I don't know. I mean, he's come in and averaged like 15 a game since he's been playing. So
12.
What's that?
He's averaging 12 right
All right.
now.
Well, why wouldn't you keep? I know he had 19 one game. That's why I said
Yeah,
that.
I think it was first game.
Yeah. Well, why wouldn't you keep that guy? He's proven playmaker, ball handler for that second unit. He can hit an open three. Like that's the type of player the Lakers really need. Like you said, Wayne Ellington, Malik Monk, these guys, they were brought in to be shooters. They were brought in to knock down open shots when LeBron and Rondo sets them up. Like, knock it down. That's the thing is like we go back to Russell Westbrook signing. He's the worst 3-point shooter in the league. He's exactly what the team did not need. And like you said, I wonder if he would humble himself to be on that second unit and kind of take control because we've seen him do it when AD and LeBron have been out of the lineup. And the offense is kind of revolved around him. He can still do it.
I think for the Lakers to ultimately have the best chance at getting out of the West, he should be the sixth man and just dominate with that second unit, be the guy who's in control. But the problem is LeBron and Westbrook at the same time on the court together, they both kind of need the ball. So it's just kind of awkward, the playing when they're both in the game together.
Yeah, TJ, final Lakers thoughts? Like a month from now, 2 months from now, is this team still hovering around 500 or have they become a top 3 team in the West?
I think that they're probably going to hover around that 500 mark probably the majority of the season. But again, we all know once playoffs come, the dogs, the different animals start to come out. And then, we'll see. We'll see if they can, somehow put it together for a last run. Maybe. But I don't see them going on some 11-game winning spurt at some point. Like I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, that was one thing I wanted to bring up real quick before we move on to. I want to talk Brooklyn here in a second. You mentioned LeBron James, he's the guy. If he's on the court, if he's still out there, the team always. Is that that's kind of like Brady in a sense, right?
Yeah, exactly.
As long as the team still has this guy, it really doesn't matter who else he's playing with.
He makes people better. That's one thing you can say a lot about LeBron. But LeBron makes people around him better.
Absolutely. Every team that has LeBron at least has a chance to make a deep playoff run.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right, let's talk about the other top team in the eastern side, the Brooklyn Nets. The big news was that hey, they're going to bring Kyrie back, but only for road games. And I know it's kind of a dire situation. They had 8+ guys on the COVID list. Although,
well, the COVID for this entire league right now is a dire situation.
Yeah, you're right. It's a dire situation. But Brooklyn's one of the teams especially hit hard along with the Bulls and a few others. But they're going to bring Kyrie back. Sean Marks seems like he kind of reluctantly is making this move. We know Kyrie has held his ground, not getting the vaccine, which eliminates him from playing in New York City. And the team just kind of shut the whole thing down. Didn't want it as a distraction all year long. You got to respect him for that. But given the situation where they need bodies, they put themselves in a spot where they need people. Hey, let's bring back one of the best players in the league. What do you guys think about this move? Are you okay with it? Can it last? Does this lead to Kyrie getting the vaccine in time for the playoffs so he can play in all the games? Adam, what's your take on what's going on in Brooklyn?
I mean, it's super awkward right now what's happening. Essentially, Kyrie called their bluff, and they had to give in to him because of what's happening with the COVID breakout. This can't last. I've heard Kyrie might take a COVID, like a vegan vaccine or something like that.
Something kind of like a Roger situation to build up his antibodies or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. But I don't think it can last where he just plays the road games. That's weird. It doesn't help team chemistry. In order for this team to win the championship, I think they need Kyrie. And so they need to figure out the situation where he's a full-time player again, because this half stuff, especially in the playoffs, if he's only playing road games, that messes up the whole flow of the team. I don't think that'll work.
Yeah, what if it goes to a game 7 against Milwaukee in Brooklyn and Kyrie's not out there, right? That's so weird, TJ.
Yeah, just road games. Look, it's kind of like Kyrie stood on the train track
and waited and playing chicken with the train.
Played chicken and the train stopped.
Yeah.
And so
the conductor pulled. Sean Marks is the conductor, pulled the brake.
So it's so weird. Like I said, you can play in games, but not home games. Therefore, you can't play in games in New York. Period. Right. So that's no games against the Knicks. No, in addition to the no home games. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're right. And as far as team chemistry goes, that's going to be tough. But
I think that's a really good point that you brought up, Adam. Team chemistry. Think about when you're playing pickup and one of your teammates is out, and then he's just playing every other game. Oh no, man, I gotta sit out. I'm tired. Oh, we won again. Oh, I'm back in. What do you mean, bro? We just won without you.
And that's pickup. So
pickup.
Imagine basketball at the highest level.
Yeah, exactly.
So it'll be interesting to see if it'll work, and it'll work. Like they'll win when he's in the lineup. Obviously, it might take a few weeks for him to get into basketball shape. I mean, it'll work to a point. But again, he's not playing home games. So it's like, I don't even know, can he practice with them when they're at home? I don't know what the parameters of this are.
I think they did kind of give him a pass to practice just so they could build up that chemistry. In a weird way, I feel bad for Kevin Durant. He's having one of his greatest seasons, and he's got to deal with this and work through it. And it's got to be so frustrating.
For sure.
I feel bad for Harden also because he thought he was going to Brooklyn.
Yeah, to win championships.
Easy championships, yep.
I feel bad that last year I said I wouldn't trade Ben Simmons for James Harden, and now we're in this position, and I can't believe Brockman, I can't believe you allowed those words to come out of my mouth.
I bet you don't feel as bad as Daryl Morey does, who stood on the Ben Simmons on the wall and been like, we are not trading Ben Simmons, and not even for Harden.
And you remember me, man. I was like captain of the Stand Up for Ben Simmons
I know.
fan club for 2 years. Like everyone, Ben Simmons can't shoot. Ben Simmons can't score. And I'd always come to you every morning and be
morning.
Yeah, bro, but look at the things the guy does do. Defense and passing and ball handling. And then, now I'm just like, let's just, obviously the Sixers would be a better team if he showed up and played. And at some point, it's like, yo, man, you either just got to put on your big boy pants and suck it up and go play basketball, or get him out for obviously we're not going to, my dream of Dame Lillard to the Sixers, as much as I put it out there.
It's dying.
It's dying right now.
Every
and
day.
then it could have been CJ McCullough, who would have worked, but then he gets a collapsed lung. So then that goes out the window. I don't know. I see the Pistons are talking about unloading Jeremy Grant, who the Sixers drafted
fill it up, man.
7 years ago. I see Sabonis might want out of Indy. I don't know how
Indy looks like they're about to unload all their best players. Sabonis, Karis LeVert, everybody.
They're going to rebuild.
So can Sabonis and Embiid work together? Because if they can,
baby,
buddy, I'm here for it. But
all right, real quick, NBA title odds. Are you guys buying these? Brooklyn's still the favorite.
Where Brooklyn
plus
at?
275. Golden State 4-1. And then it dips off. Milwaukee and Phoenix 7-1. Lakers, Heat, Jazz 12-1. You guys good with those?
I don't see how Brooklyn can be the favorite without the third of the three amigos. I mean, granted, they could get to the championship and maybe even win, but to make them a favorite without their arguably second best player, third best.
What if Kyrie doesn't play? Right, the experiment to have him play only road games doesn't work. He chooses to not get the vaccine still. New York City keeps its mandate in place, and he's out. Can Harden and Durant beat the Warriors with Clay and Wiseman back?
I don't even think that they'll beat Milwaukee.
You don't?
Yeah. No, I think Milwaukee is still, to me right now, I've changed my mind. I think they're the favorite still. And I think the Warriors are the favorite in the West, especially with the fact that we keep forgetting Clay and Wiseman are coming back. That team is loaded.
Yep.
That team is going to be so stacked, man. God, it's so fun watching them.
Steph Curry.
It's so fun having them back.
So fun to watch.
Yeah.
And like I said, Rich on the show today was talking about everyone kind of buried the Warriors. But me personally, and we've had this talk, Chris, I said last year, for the past 2 years, these teams, man, you better get the Warriors while they're down a little bit. Make your move because, did I see them at 26-5 or Whatever they are, probably.
that's crazy.
I didn't necessarily see that.
But same
a
thing
team
with Phoenix,
Steph,
too. We didn't think Phoenix was going to win 18 in a row.
Yeah, because you thought maybe Phoenix would be that team that had a great season last year and they went to the title. Now they'll come back to earth, and they're not. So that's great to see. But the same thing with the Warriors. If you have Steph and you have Clay and you have Draymond, like that team is always going to be in contention. And when the league had their chance, they should have taken it. Because right now, man, first of all, and I'm still mad at Steph. I'm going to stay mad at Steph. Like Steph.
Why are you going to stay mad at Steph?
Because like I said last week, man, we've all picked up a round rock and we've all shot it into a basket, right? And we've all made our fair share of jumpers, except none of us, for as many jumpers as we've shot, like can do what Steph does. This guy is a threat. Some people, they say, once they cross half court, you got to watch him. No, once he decides to tie up the last bow on his Under Armour sneaker,
you got to start guarding him?
You start guarding him before he even puts his jersey on. Like, you got to lock him down.
You have to go into the locker room. While he's getting dressed. And then as soon as he's done getting dressed and finishes tying his shoe.
Not even jersey on.
Strapping up his ankle braces, then the guy needs to D him up.
Lock him up. That's your only chance. That's your only chance.
Pat Bev style?
Don't even let him touch the ball. Don't even the second he gets his hand on the ball, it'll go in.
I mean, we've seen that video of him shooting from the tunnel.
Yeah,
Did
right.
you see that a couple weeks ago?
By the way, he makes tunnel shots like they're nothing. Like. Yeah, it's just Steph, man. He ruined basketball. I'm gonna tell you why. Because much in the same way the N1 mixtape once ruined basketball. Because you watched the N1 mixtape in the early 2000s, and then what did you do right after? You decide to go out to the court. Let me tell you something. I can't do this behind the back and the spin, and like I'm not the professor, man.
The one where you like put it under your shirt and then
whack it around.
That thing.
Who can do that?
Somebody, but not me. But it was ruined. Like we used to play every Wednesday night game at my house, like every Wednesday night. And I've told you about it. Like there'd be some wild people. Like here comes Ryan Phillippe and Breckenmeyer. They're playing on a Wednesday. Just the weirdest thing. And like we go out there and try to play after N1 mixtape, and it was all bad. So now you've got these kids watching Steph, thinking, "Oh, I can just launch 30-foot jumpers." Here's what I learned back when I was in high school. I was talking to Larry Bitar, who was Altoona High's coach. And I was sitting in the gym after practice trying to hoist up threes. This is like the late 80s. And he told me at like 8th grade, he was like, you got to get a little stronger before you're really able to hit these threes. These kids now, I'm watching 10th graders come out and just like, they don't care. Whap, they're shooting from the hip. Because you shoot from the hip when you don't got that much strength. So and they're making them. That's the thing that's bothering me too. How can a 10th grader shoot better than me?
10th grader, I'm seeing kids that are like
10-year-old. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
how can a 10-year-old shoot better?
Like 5th grade.
Yeah, a 10th grader will probably take me to the rack
Which
at this
is weird
point.
because like Steph still kind of shoots like that.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
But it's just like he did change the game. I'm not sure if it's for the best because like I said, now everybody thinks they can shoot 30-footers. So
you talk about the N1 stuff, man. Shout out to Barry Baker, one of the best athletes ever to come out of Long Island. He played at Syracuse and would football and would play pickup. Basketball was actually his best sport. He could do every move on the N1. Yeah. Remember that Nike commercial that they were in, and they did all the crazy moves? It was like a minute long
with Darius Miles.
All those,
with the real players in it. It was like and it was like
music,
like
and it was like in black and white.
And it was a sneaker squeaking on the wood. Yeah, that.
Yo, this dude Barry Baker, wherever he is right now, he could do all the moves. Best basketball player I ever played pickup with.
Once in Pittsburgh, right, I used to play at this court in the Oakland section of Pittsburgh. And Curtis Martin, former Patriot, former Jet, when he was still at Pitt, he would play there sometimes. But there was a kid once, it was a man, but he showed up one day to play pickup ball, right? And homeboy must have just got off of work because he was wearing Dickies, Dickie work pants, and Tim boots, okay? He's got Dickies and Tim boots, and his Dickies, I would say they were probably like a size 40 waist, and yet he was like a 32 waist.
And he had the belt and the ass.
So he had the belt on and a wife beater, and he's playing in Timbs, right? And this man went out and ran the court 3 games in a row in Timberlands and size 40 Dickies when he was a 32 waist. And he would run down the court after he scored every time, holding his pants up. And he would just say to himself, I can't see it. I can't, like, you trying to stop me? His whole thing was like, I can't see it.
What a legend.
I can't see it. And like homeboy's holding up his pants with one hand, balling in Timbs, and couldn't nobody stop him. It was amazing. Pick up street ball legends
those
are
like
great.
Old guys who show up. Joe Johnson played last night.
How about that? ISO Joe coming back.
ISO Joe back in Boston, right?
Let's talk about it.
The last time Joe Johnson scored for the Celtics, The Patriots won the Super Bowl that year. So I'm just pointing that out real quick.
A correlation, perhaps?
And he did the most old man move yesterday, like straight out of the Paul Pierce playbook, like LA Fitness, couple dribbles, shake, elbow jumper. It was so amazing. Like, that's the type of moves that you're talking about. Dude would show up in Tim's and Dickies, and I don't think we can call them wife beaters anymore, TJ.
I think you can.
I think you got to call them like A shirts or tank tops.
Tank tops, okay.
So anyway, that's what Joe Johnson did last night. Like, that move still works even at the highest level.
And his pace is so slow, but it doesn't matter how athletic all the other players are. He still gets to his spot every time.
He will always get to his spot. I hope Boston keeps him the rest of the year, even just as like a player coach.
He can be
so cool.
He can be like the Taco Fall of last year for the Celtics.
He got such an ovation last night, and he only played half the year. He was involved in the trade with like Chauncey Billups and all them. Right. No, that might have been a little bit later, but he was traded during his rookie year in Boston. It's just like so cool to see him back.
Yeah, that was good, man. That was one of those feel good things to see.
All right, let's get this wrapped up.
And by the way, that move, it was slow. It was slow.
So slow, but he still got to the spot and train. I mean, it wasn't his garbage time. I totally get it.
Wearing 55, the double nickel too.
Which, you want to know why he's doing that? So his number when he first signed with Boston was 31.
Okay.
And that's a number Cedric Maxwell wore in the 80s, but they had not retired Cedric's number yet. So he wore 31, and now 20 years later, he's back in Boston.
Okay.
Cedric's number's retired. So he can't wear 31. He's got to wear 55.
55, okay. Yeah, he only played 48 games with the Celtics in 01-02. So
yeah. Short tenure in Boston, but always a great player, man. One of the best. Big three alum.
Yeah.
Big three alum, Joe Johnson. All right, let's wrap this up really quickly. It's Festivus. If you don't know what Festivus is, like,
what are you doing with your life?
Come on, educate yourself. So let's just do quick grievances, really quick, basketball-ish related. Adam, you start.
Okay, so my problem is when you go to a game and people freak out when the T-shirt cannon comes out. It is so ridiculous how people go crazy. There's people that are like, I will knock over you and your unborn child because I need a T-shirt that has a Ralph's grocery store logo on it. It's ridiculous. These people are out of control. I've been to like 3 games this year.
Have you ever caught one, though?
It's incredible, yes. The feeling, I get it. The feeling is it is so awesome when you.
It's like catching a home run or a foul ball at a baseball game. It's like the greatest feeling of all time.
You feel like a star in that moment. Everybody's looking at you.
So then what's your problem with
it?
So you caught one and you still take umbrage with this?
I still get annoyed by the people because I caught it. Now I felt the feeling, and now it's like I just want to retire from that and leave it alone. But it's still annoying. But I will say it is a great feeling.
It's kind of like free food too, like in the office building. Like nobody goes crazier than people for like the dumbest stuff ever.
Right.
Like T-shirts that you'll never ever wear. They're all double XLs. Like it's the same type of T-shirt. You'll never wear it. But it's just the idea that you won this at a game.
By the way, someone who wears a double XL, they never get. They're always X's. Or they're always L's.
It's always XL.
There's
usually
never a double X.
I think it's just a free thing in general because you'll see people outside of like Blaze Pizza waiting like 3 hours in line for like a $10 pizza. So it's just like I think the free thing goes into it also.
For sure.
Adam definitely talks as someone who's never caught 2 T-shirts in the same quarter of a Clippers game. Like me. Maybe it wasn't the same quarter, but I caught 2 T-shirts.
At the same game?
At the same game once, yes. And one catch, I remember I jumped straight up in the air like Randy Moss, and I snatched it with one hand, much like a bear snatching a salmon swimming upstream. It was like that, and people around me were going nuts, and you guys know me. I was hamming it up. And then I caught a second one, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. This is like the luck of the Irish, only I'm not Irish. And so I went and played the lottery.
Did you know the shooter of the...
No.
That's what I was going to say. Is there inside info?
I was sitting in like the 12th row, so we're in the lower area, and that's where they all get to. And it just was like, and actually, when I had these seats, they were my buddy's season tickets back in the day. And when he couldn't come, like when the Sixers would come, he'd always give me his tickets. So I caught, I think, 4 T-shirts from that seat over like a 3-year period. I think here's my grievance, and it's much like anything else, and it's pretty people. Pretty people get stuff that us not like. Look at me right now. I've got a face made for radio, and yet they put me on TV 15 hours a
TJ,
week.
I like your beard. Your beard looks good.
My beard is always on point. But it's like these pretty people, particularly, I'm just saying pretty people, go to these sporting events and sit in the best seats and don't care anything about it. They just want to Instagram and TikTok and Twitter and then take all their pictures, but they're not even paying attention to what's going on. And all the people who really care about the games are way up in the nosebleeds, and they can't like get no sweat on them. Like maybe somebody wants to get some LeBron sweat on them, but they can't because it's always somebody sitting at courtside who don't give a damn about the game. They're just there for social media, and that is my grievance.
Great point, man. Great point. They just want to be seen courtside.
Yeah.
And then like maybe it's not even their seat, but they'll just walk either walk the baseline or walk the sideline.
You see that at Lakers games all the time. It's just people walking around to be seen.
But you can't get down there unless you do have a seat at the lower area.
So they are sitting
to be down there somewhere. Yeah.
But they're usually a few rows back, but they just want to be seen on the court. Mm-hmm. It's so funny.
It's like, stop.
All right, my grievance, and it's also a Lakers related. Why is every Lakers fan freaking out that the name is getting changed from Staples Center to Crypto.com?
No idea.
Like, what is it? It's just a name.
It's a name.
They're not tearing down the building, okay?
No.
This isn't like the Boston Garden getting torn down and they built the Fleet Center right next door.
Or the Chicago Stadium getting torn down and building the United Center.
Different story.
Exactly. That's a totally different building. All the memories from that building are, I mean, we still have the memories, obviously, but the building itself is gone, right? Yankee Stadium getting torn down and they build the new Yankee Stadium in the parking lot across the street. This is not happening. Literally, the arena at LA Live is not going anywhere. It's staying there.
Maybe Lakers fans just really like Staples. They like the store.
The store doesn't even really exist anymore.
Well, it does. It does. There's still Staples.
Where? Where is there a Staples?
There's Staples on Sepulveda.
There is?
Yeah, by Fox Hills Mall, right down the street.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, but I just don't understand. Like, maybe we can get O'Shea to tweet us back and explain, like, what the deal is. Because
they feel like they won 5 titles at Staples.
Out.
But it's the same building, though. I don't get it.
Building.
I don't get it. I agree with you, Brockman. It's
the
madness.
banners that you love so much are all still there. You know,
like I guess all of our favorite teams have done it, right? The Spectrum no longer exists. Chicago Stadium
Shea
is
Stadium
gone.
no longer
Boston
there.
Garden
but even
is
with the
gone.
Lakers, I could have seen when they got upset when they moved from the Forum to Staples Center.
Exactly.
Because
Guess
all
what?
those memories.
You weren't here. They did. People did get upset.
They did?
I mean, I
People
wasn't here. I got here like the year after. But of course, people get mad if the wind changes direction. Come on.
I just think it's really hilarious. As a known Lakers hater, it's really funny just to see everyone in our timeline like writing like goodbye letters to Staples Center. It's still there.
It's still there.
It's still there,
They're not
people.
changing the seating. They're not changing your banners. It's just the name on the roof. And by the way, Crypto paid what, $70 million over like the next 20
like
or $700.
$1
Yeah, so
they
just
paid so much money.
Money talks.
All right,
BS
we're
runs the
still going to
marathon.
be here too. I don't know if we're going to do an episode next week, but we'll be back after the holiday break. Adam and TJ, great job, guys. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Hey, happy
to both
holidays,
of you.
everyone.
Safe travels. If you're going anywhere, everyone listening, appreciate you guys. And we'll be back.
Wear your mask.
Video in the new year.
Yeah, video coming in the new year. Also, different ways to find us, too. But for right now, keep it on YouTube on the Rich Eisen Show page. Peace out.
Peace.